society. It's a movement toward a world where women can live freely, express themselves authentically, and be celebrated for who they are, without apology or shame. Women who break the rules also challenge the idea that success must look a certain way. In a society that often measures success by traditional standards, wealth, status, power, women who break the rules redefine what it means to succeed. They create their own definition of success, one that is rooted in their values, passions, and personal fulfillment. By doing so, they help redefine what it means to live a successful life, one that is not bound by societal norms, but is instead a reflection of their true selves. The act of breaking the rules is a declaration of independence, of autonomy, and of self-determination. It is a refusal to be defined by anyone else's standards, and in doing so, it frees women to live lives that are meaningful, authentic, and true to who they are. By breaking the rules, women not only empower themselves but also help to create a world where everyone has the freedom to be their true selves. In conclusion, the love that women have for breaking the rules is not simply about rebellion, it is about freedom. It is about living life on their own terms, without the constraints of societal expectations. By breaking the rules, women reclaim their power, redefine their identities, and inspire others to do the same. They are the trailblazers, the ones who help to shift the very fabric of society, creating space for everyone to be their true selves. In breaking the rules, they are not just changing their own lives, they are changing the world. Breaking the rules is more than just a symbol of defiance, it is an ongoing journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation. For many women, the act of challenging the expectations placed upon them by society is a deeply personal one, rooted in the desire to live authentically, to create space for themselves in a world that constantly tells them who they should be. It is an act that stems from a refusal to accept limitations, whether those limitations are societal, cultural, or internal. Women who break the rules are not simply rejecting the status quo, they are building a new path, one that is entirely their own, one that gives them the agency to define who they are and what they want from life. The experience of breaking the rules is deeply emotional, often tied to years of internal struggle, self-doubt, and the pressure to conform. Society, for centuries, has taught women that their worth is based on how closely they adhere to traditional norms. These norms dictate everything from the way they look to the way they act, speak, and relate to others. But what happens when a woman reaches a point where she refuses to adhere to these norms anymore? What happens when she decides to break free from the confines of society's expectations and live according to her own desires, needs, and values? The answer is that she begins a process of deep personal transformation. The emotional release that comes from breaking the rules is akin to shedding an old skin. It's as though she is stepping out of the shadows and into the light, embracing her true self without fear of judgment or reprisal. It is a release from the self-imposed constraints that come from constantly measuring oneself against external standards. For many women, this is the moment when they truly begin to live for themselves. The weight of conformity is lifted, and the possibility of true self-expression becomes attainable. When a woman breaks the rules, she doesn't just change her life, she changes her entire relationship with the world. No longer bound by expectations, she begins to see life through a new lens, one that is defined by her own choices, her own desires, and her own unique perspective. This shift in perspective is empowering. It enables women to step into their full potential, to explore possibilities that they may have once believed were out of reach. Whether it's in their careers, relationships, or personal goals, breaking the rules allows women to chart their own course, to define their own success, and to live their truth unapologetically. One of the most profound aspects of this journey is the impact that rule breaking can have on a woman's sense of self-worth. For years, women have been conditioned to measure their worth against external standards that often have little to do with their intrinsic value as individuals. Whether it's the pressure to meet physical beauty ideals, or the expectation to play a certain role in relationships or in society, women are constantly faced with the challenge of measuring up. But when a woman chooses to break the rules, she begins to reject the notion that her value is determined by anyone other than herself. This is a powerful act of self-empowerment. When women break the rules, they often do so to reclaim their power. They refuse to allow anyone else to dictate who they should be or how they should live. Instead, they choose to step into their own power, to trust in their own judgment, and to make choices that reflect their true selves. This process can be liberating, but it is not without its challenge. There is often resistance from society, from friends, from family, and this resistance can be painful, yet the act of breaking the rules is an essential step toward greater autonomy and independence. It is about choosing to live life according to one's own terms, regardless of the pressure to conform. In relationships, the act of breaking the rules is often seen as an assertion of independence. Many women, for example, have been told that their worth in a relationship is defined by how much they give, how much they nurture, or how much they sacrifice. Women are often taught to be selfless, to put others' needs before their own, and to seek validation from their partner. But when women break the rules, they choose to prioritize their own needs, desires, and well-being. They do not wait for permission to express their emotions, to speak up for what they want, or to take charge of their own happiness. By doing so, they challenge traditional gender roles and redefine what it means to be a partner in a relationship. One powerful example of breaking the rules in relationships is when women decide to leave toxic or unfulfilling relationships. For years, they may have been told that love is about sacrifice, that relationships require them to constantly compromise. But when they reach a point where they realize that the relationship is no longer serving them, they choose to break the rule of staying at all costs. This is an act of immense courage, as it challenges the deeply ingrained belief that women should always stay, always fight for love, regardless of the cost. In choosing to walk away, women reclaim their power, their independence, and their right to live a life free from toxicity and emotional harm. Breaking the rules also allows women to reclaim their autonomy in the professional realm. Historically, women have been told that success is about fitting into a particular mold, about being compliant, playing by the rules, and quietly achieving success without drawing too much attention to themselves. Women who break this mold, who push back against the expectations of what a successful woman should look like, become powerful symbols of change. They assert themselves in the workplace, demand equal pay and opportunities, and refuse to allow anyone to define their professional worth. By breaking the rules, these women create new pathways for other women to follow, challenging the conventional notions of what it means to be a leader or a professional. In doing so, they prove that success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Success is personal, and it is defined by what each individual wants to achieve and how they want to live their life. Women who break the rules are not just paving the way for their own success, they are creating a world where future generations of women will have the freedom to define their own paths, to break the rules that no longer serve them, and to create their own version of success. Another deeply empowering aspect of breaking the rules is the sense of community it creates. Women who break the rules do not do so in isolation. By stepping outside the constraints of societal expectations, they create a network of other women who are also defying the norms and carving out their own paths. This sense of solidarity is incredibly powerful. It is a reminder that women are not alone in their quest for freedom, and that there is strength in numbers. Women who break the rules become part of a larger movement, one that seeks to challenge the patriarchal structures that have held women back for so long. This sense of community is a source of strength, support, and inspiration. It empowers women to continue breaking the rules, knowing that they are not alone in their journey. In a world that often tries to limit women's potential, those who break the rules become symbols of resistance and change. They show others that it is possible to live life on your own terms, to refuse to be defined by outdated norms, and to create a life that is true to your values, desires, and passion. These women become the trailblazers, the ones who inspire others to take risks, to step out of their comfort zones, and to pursue their dreams without fear. They prove that breaking the rules is not just a rebellion against society's expectations, it is an invitation to live a life that is meaningful, authentic, and fulfilling. Breaking the rules, in this context, is not about rejecting order or structure, it's about creating space for something new, something better, and something more in alignment with one's true self. It is a radical act of love, not just for oneself, but for others as well. By breaking the rules, women open the door for others to do the same, and in doing so, they create a world where freedom, equality, and self-expression are no longer just ideals but lived realities. The women who break the rules are the ones who shape the future. They challenge the status quo, tear down the walls that limit women's potential, and create new possibilities for themselves and for future generations. They show us all that living authentically, free from the constraints of societal expectations, is not only possible, it is necessary. The courage to break the rules is the courage to live a life of freedom, of choice, and of self-determination, and that in itself is the greatest form of empowerment. The process of breaking the rules, for